Edd China's exit from Wheeler Dealers shocked fans everywhere, and the story behind it is more dramatic than it first appeared. 4 years, Edd and Mike Brewer had created the perfect balance. Mike was the wheeler and dealer, hunting down bargains and cracking jokes, while Edd, with his calm nature and trademark orange gloves, showed audiences that repairing cars wasn't scary but exciting. He made every detail clear, from removing bolts to rebuilding engines, and this teaching style inspired people all over the world. When the show moved to America, everything looked bigger and brighter. The workshop was larger, the cars were flashier, and the budget was stronger. But behind the scenes, there was more pressure. The new producers wanted episodes to be faster and more polished. Repairs that used to take 10 minutes on screen were cut down to a few quick shots, leaving out the lessons that fans loved most. Edd, who cared deeply about showing the real process, began to feel frustrated. He worked long hours trying to film extra details, but many of them never made it into the final cut. The show's energy started to change. On camera, Mike and Edd still smiled and joked, but off camera the tension grew. Fans noticed too. Online discussions were filled with complaints about missing details and rushed repairs. Edd knew the heart of the show, teaching people how to fix cars, was slowly disappearing. In March 2017, he finally made a decision that stunned everyone. He uploaded a 6-minute video on YouTube titled "I'm Leaving Wheeler Dealers." Sitting at a plain desk in his orange gloves, Edd explained that the new direction of the show no longer matched his values. He said the producers wanted to cut down the repair sections for efficiency, but to him, without proper repairs, the show wasn't Wheeler Dealers anymore. He thanked Mike and the fans, but his disappointment was clear when he admitted, "It's not the direction I can support." The reaction was explosive. Within hours, the video went viral. Fans flooded social media with messages of support, anger, and sadness. Many praised Edd for standing by his principles, while others questioned why Mike hadn't done more to stop the changes. The story was picked up by car magazines and news sites across the world. By the end of the day, millions of people had watched Edd's farewell, and the car community was buzzing with debates and theories. What seemed like just another television change revealed something much deeper: the struggle between keeping a show authentic and bending to the demands of big networks. For many fans, Edd's departure marked the end of Wheeler Dealers as they knew it. The workshop doors had closed on an era, leaving behind not just the memory of car restorations, but also a lesson about integrity and staying true to what you believe in. After Edd China's farewell video, the fallout was immediate and fierce. The network released a short statement claiming the show was still strong, but fans weren't convinced. Edd ended his clip with a small smile, urging people to keep fixing cars and promising he'd be back in some way. When the screen faded to black, the silence was filled with theories, debates, and anger. But the biggest wave of backlash wasn't aimed at the network. It crashed down on Mike Brewer. Within hours, Mike was hit with an avalanche of hate online. Some accused him of betraying Edd, saying he had sold out the heart of the show. Others went far beyond criticism, sending personal attacks and even threats. Messages poured into his inbox, some so dark they targeted his family. One mentioned his teenage daughter by name. Scared for his safety, Mike contacted the police, who opened a case and warned him to stay alert. Later, he admitted the situation nearly broke him. Even Edd had to step back in, asking fans not to threaten Mike and reminding them that their friendship was real. But once the internet catches fire, it's hard to put it out. The storm began to spook sponsors. A tire company quickly pulled out of a deal, and the network tried to control the damage with a longer press release. They promised the show would stay true to its roots, but also announced a major change: a new mechanic. That man was Ant Anstead, a former policeman who became a skilled builder, known for his charm and quick work. The hope was that his fresh energy would calm the storm and keep viewers hooked. When Ant made his debut, he came in with confidence, tearing down a bright blue Mustang, rebuilding parts at lightning speed, and spraying paint like a pro. Fans who enjoyed action and fast builds were impressed. But long-time viewers weren't satisfied. They complained that the step-by-step lessons were gone. They wanted to know how things were actually done, not just watch quick edits. Ant tried to fix the gap by filming extra clips behind the scenes and posting them online, but most of them never left the cutting room. Ratings stayed steady, but the audience was split. Some accepted the new style, while others never stopped chanting the same words. Bring back Edd. Ant joked that he was both the most loved and hated mechanic on TV, but privately the weight of expectation was crushing. Mike did his best to hype Ant up, promising deeper repairs in the future, but no matter what they filmed, Edd's shadow loomed over the show. Still, the cars kept coming. From Datsun 240zs to Ferraris and even a military Humvee, they flipped vehicles and kept the business rolling. The show survived, but for many fans, it no longer felt like the same wheeler dealers. Meanwhile, Edd kept quiet. 4 years, he stayed away from the spotlight, tinkering in his own workshop in the English countryside. Occasionally, he appeared at car shows and charity events, but fans constantly asked the same question. Where did Edd go? Finally, in 2021, they got their answer. Edd returned with a brand new YouTube series called Edd China's Workshop Diaries. Unlike the TV version, his new series was entirely under his control. The first episode opened with Edd standing in a modest garage, kettle boiling in the background, ready to rescue an old Range Rover. No fancy effects, no rush, just Edd explaining every step with the same patience and clarity fans had always loved. Every bolt was unscrewed on screen. Every gasket got close-up attention. Sometimes, he even paused to sketch diagrams on a whiteboard so viewers could fully understand the process. The projects grew more creative with each episode. One week he restored a 1960s milk float and fitted it with an electric motor. Another time, he revived his famous motorized sofa, a record-breaking machine that once zoomed through London streets. Fans were thrilled. Comments poured in, thanking him for finally bringing back the detailed lessons they had missed. By the 10th episode, his channel had already passed 500,000 subscribers, supported by ads, Patreon fans, and sales of his Big Hands, Small Garage t-shirts. Edd had proven something powerful. Even without a big network or flashy studio, his honest, detailed approach to fixing cars still mattered. For many, Workshop Diaries wasn't just a new chapter. It was the true spirit of wheeler dealers reborn. Without the pressure of network deadlines, Edd was finally free to work at his own pace. Some months he uploaded a new episode every Friday, while other times he paused for weeks to hunt rare car parts or speak at engineering events. Fans didn't mind the gaps because they trusted that when a new video appeared, it would be worth the wait. Sponsors reached out constantly, but Edd only agreed to promote tools he genuinely used. His simple rule was, if it's not in my toolbox, it's not in the show. Meanwhile, on Wheeler Dealers, Ant Anstead's time as the show's mechanic ended in 2020 when he moved back to the UK for family reasons. The network then brought in Marc Elvis Priestley, a former McLaren Formula One mechanic with sharp skills and an easy laugh. The 2021 season was filmed in a British workshop, and while ratings remained steady, fans continued to compare every repair and weld to Edd's slower, more detailed style. By 2024, the two paths seemed firmly set. Edd was teaching at his own speed online, while Mike kept steering a lighter, faster version of the TV show. Yet, whispers of a reunion never stopped. In interviews, Mike often said, "Never say never," while Edd smiled knowingly and changed the subject. It seemed like both men were content traveling separate roads, but fans always hoped they'd meet again. Then in 2023, a small car blog lit the spark that set the fanbase buzzing. The blog claimed Edd might appear as a guest star in a future Wheeler Dealers special. There were no details, no names, no dates, just enough to fuel endless speculation. Reddit threads exploded with theories. Some fans swore they had seen Edd having lunch with a Motor Trend producer at Goodwood. Others insisted that Mike and Edd were secretly planning a charity build to celebrate the show's 25th anniversary. Neither Edd nor Mike shut the rumors down. On a podcast, Mike laughed and said, "Never say never. My phone still works." A month later, during a live stream, someone asked Edd if he'd ever return. He paused, smiled, and answered, "Only if we can show every nut and bolt." It wasn't confirmation, but it wasn't a denial either. And for fans, that small hint was enough to keep hope alive. More rumors followed. Some claimed the BBC wanted the pair for a new series about electric vehicle conversions. Others said Discovery pitched a reunion road trip across 10 countries with 10 classic cars. None of these stories ever came true, but the speculation never stopped. And little by little, subtle signs suggested the gap between Edd and Mike might be closing. At the 2024 NEC Classic Motor Show, the two appeared on the same stage for the first time in 7 years, though for different panels. Backstage, they shared a brief hello, and a photo of them smiling together spread across social media within hours. Soon after, Mike sent Edd a public birthday message on Twitter. "Have a great one, mate. Hope to share a brew soon." Edd liked it and replied with a thumbs-up emoji. To longtime fans, even these small exchanges felt like a rusty hinge finally getting fresh oil. Outside of reunion chatter, both men kept moving forward. Edd began testing hydrogen-powered taxis, hinting that alternative fuels might become his next big passion project. Mike continued filming Wheeler Dealers into its 20th season, teasing record profits and bigger builds. But in every interview, one question never went away. Will you and Edd ever work together again? Each time, the answer was the same: a shrug, a smile, and a hint of mystery. For fans, that open-ended response was enough to keep the dream alive. As long as nobody said, never, the door remained cracked open. Theories swirled through forums and comment sections, proving that the story of Edd China and Mike Brewer wasn't over. It was simply idling, engine warm, waiting for the next green light. Over more than 2 decades, Wheeler Dealers grew into more than just a TV show. It became a symbol of a bigger debate. How much of the real, gritty process can you cut away before the heart of the show is lost? In its early days, viewers connected because every scraped knuckle, seized bolt, and late-night repair felt genuine. Fans weren't just watching, they were learning and trying the fixes themselves, failing and succeeding alongside Edd and Mike. The split in 2017 showed how fragile that balance was. Edd walked away from a stable TV career because he valued honesty and detail over ratings and speed. It was a bold move that cost him mainstream spotlight but gave him full creative freedom. In doing so, he reminded everyone that sometimes principle is worth more than popularity. Mike chose to stay, carrying the responsibility of keeping a global TV brand alive and making sure dozens of crew members still had jobs. Edd chose to walk away, protecting his love for slow, detailed craftsmanship without compromise. Both decisions took courage. Both came with sleepless nights. And together they revealed 2 truths that can exist at the same time. Television is built on teamwork and compromise, while pure craftsmanship shines brightest when no one is rushing the process. What's even more surprising is how the audience reacted. Instead of losing interest, fans split into 2 groups and followed both roads. Some enjoyed Mike's faster, more streamlined flips on TV, while others preferred Edd's hour-long deep dives online, where every step was explained. In a world overflowing with content, the lesson was clear. If you show true passion, people will find you, no matter the platform. So, will Mike and Edd ever reunite on screen? Maybe. History shows that money can make things happen, but trust speaks louder. If the time ever feels right, if every nut and bolt can be shown while still respecting the realities of production, then those workshop lights could flicker on again for both men. Until then, the dream continues in 2 different forms. One road is chasing profit and excitement in primetime, while the other is chasing perfection, one long, thoughtful video at a time. That leaves the question parked right in front of you. Which path would you watch? The quick flips, the detailed guides, or maybe even a perfect mix of both? Because the next twist in this story might depend on where fans decide to put their attention. From a small garage in London to TV studios around the world, Edd China and Mike Brewer proved that fixing up dusty old cars could inspire millions of people. Their split showed that passion and profit don't always travel in the same lane, but both lanes can still lead to great stories. Maybe one day those roads will meet again. Or maybe they'll keep rolling separately. In the end, it might come down to what viewers like you want the most.